In my last video, I was talking about the year 1987 and how it was a turning point for metal music and extreme music. So in that year, metal music started to branch out into different subgenres. So my last video was Scream Bloody Gore by Death, that being the first true death metal album. And around that same time, the band Helloween released their second album called Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 1. Now this is often considered the birth of power metal. Now the term power metal is kind of like broad in itself. I've heard people say that this is more of that like European power metal, and before that there was like an American power metal with bands like Manowar or Metal Church, but that can be debated in another video. But I'm here to talk about Helloween. So Helloween released the album Walls of Jericho in 1985. This was their debut album, and it had Kai Hansen playing guitar and doing vocals. That album was probably more of a speed metal album, and on the second album they found a new vocalist. His name was Michael Kiske. He was about 18 years old at the time, and the reason they found another vocalist was because Kai Hansen had a hard time singing and playing guitar. So with this new vocalist, their entire sound changed, and a new style of music called power metal was, kind of brought to the forefront. So basically the band Helloween took the name from a very popular holiday, kind of enjoyed by children, and made it sound like a little darker. But their music is not like the same dark and heavy type of music of those other bands that were emerging, like Death or Bathory. The music was, I guess like you could say happy kind of music. Has a fast beat, fast rhythms. The guitarist added a lot of melody into the songs, and that brings us to the album Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 1. So the original album has 8 songs and a runtime of about 36 minutes. So the album in general is not very long. There are other versions of this album with some bonus tracks, but in this video I'll just be focusing on the original album and the original 8 songs. The album is basically like bookended with like 2 short songs that are under 2 minutes. So the opening track, Initiation, and then there's the closing track, Follow the Sign. So Initiation is a short instrumental. It has power chords, very epic sound, and the purpose of this track is to introduce you to the tone of the album. Just very epic, and it's basically an intro to the next song. Follow the Sign is an instrumental, which is basically a long guitar solo. Reminds me a lot of Iron Maiden, and I say instrumental, but it does have some spoken word throughout the song. It's kind of like whispered in the background, but it's very low, and it just creates an atmosphere of like, how to close out the album. Now I spoke about those 2 short instrumental opening and closing tracks, but now I'm going to talk about the heart of the album. So I'm going to talk about the songs that these are like the top tier, those like S tier songs from the album. So the first top tier song is I'm Alive. This is track number 2, and this is the first you really hear Michael Kiske with his vocals. The song is very heavy. It starts with a heavy riff. One thing I noticed is the drum beat. It's very fast. Like if you isolate the drum track, it would kind of sound like a thrash metal song almost. And the song does incorporate lots of melody. I think that's what the band Helloween does very well. They incorporate melody into their songs. I guess some of the guitar work can be compared to Iron Maiden, but this song is fast, it's heavy, it's melodic, and that is that winning formula for this band. So the next like top tier song is called Future World. This one's not as fast as the first track, I'm Alive. This was a single. It's a mid-paced rocker. It has palm muted riffs. And the vocals show Michael Kiske's range, and he sings in like the lower and the higher range. They use a lot of like sustained power chords, and they create these sound textures. Songs are breakdown where they incorporate these different sounds. Almost sounds like sound samples or buzzers, and they're really great guitar solos, and it's just very melodic. I think the one thing that stands out on this is the melody as well as the musicianship, and it's just another top tier song. Now the next top tier song is called Helloween. It's a very long epic track, a little over 13 minutes, but they also have like a single version and a music video which is about like 5 minutes long. But the original album version, I guess you can compare it to like Iron Maiden's Rime of the Ancient Mariner. It's a song, it's very epic, but it's about like the children's holiday, kids going out trick-or-treating, but they wrote the lyrics in a way to make it sound just very big, epic, menacing, very descriptive, and it really it's a great song. The lyrics are really great. The song is heavy, has lots of melodic guitar riffs, has a fairly fast pace, and you hear that in the drum beat as well. The song is being that it's long, has different sections, some parts where the song has like the bass guitar stand out, other parts where you can hear like the galloping guitar rhythms. As the song progresses, there are different sections where you can hear some darker melodies. They have some demonic voices and some harmonized guitar solos, and they really incorporate a lot into the song. So the next few songs are more of those like, I guess called B tier songs, really good songs, but just those like B tier ones. So A Little Time, that's a slower song. And this one actually reminds me of like early Queensryche. It's just very cool. It has a haunting breakdown. It includes some like different sound effects like clocks and other things, but it's a very melodic song. Twilight of the Gods is probably like the most like power metal sounding song on the album. It has everything like that like power metal would evolve into, just the big melodic chorus, the like fantasy lyrics. Another one where you hear the bass guitar very well and just has that really fast drum beat, which is apparent throughout the album. And the last song I'm going to talk about is a ballad called A Tale That Wasn't Right. This one has Michael Kiske really showing off his vocal ability. You know, he has a really great range. He shows off his highs as well as his lows. It's just filled with emotion, not just in the vocals, but the guitar solos. There's so much like feeling in these solos, and it just goes from very slow melodic to very fast and heavy. So that is all. They would eventually release Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2, and I've always thought to myself that I did kind of like Part 2 better, but after listening to this a few times to prepare for the review, I really like this album. I think this one might be a little better. Just need to listen to the second one again, see which one I like better, but these two albums will always be my number one and my number two Helloween albums. I did a ranking, and these were my top two. The self-titled was number 3, and if you want to watch that, you can check it out and find it on my page. And that's all. My next video will be some classic rock. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, that's celebrating 55 years. I'll probably do that one in 2 days. I'll probably take tomorrow off. And that's all. I have a collaboration video with the Chill Dude on the Couch. We're going to record the new Def Leppard album review, and I'll put up a poll on my community tab, see what other albums you want to listen to, and that's all. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you in the next one.